case you don't know us, you're just twisting the dial away and managed to bump into us. This is ZIZ Radio from out of St. Kitts.
It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gon' be safe. Everybody gon' be safe. One kind, one people. We are roll up to roll up, cause no man's alone. Do what's right, cause I love you, and we're in this together, my sister, my brother. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah. It's better for us, yeah. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah. It's better for us than your mommy to daddy roll out.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Get a free pie in July at Domino's. Click on over to Domino's.kn, and when you order any carry-out large pizza at menu price, you get a second medium one-topping pizza absolutely free. Simply click on the offer on the homepage or use offer code JULY, all caps, and your second pizza is free. Offer valid for carry-out orders placed online at any Domino's location, or download our Domino's Caribbean app in all the app stores. A free pizza pie in July at Domino's. Now that's amore.
Wow, call Domino's!
Or click Domino's.kn now.
Have you ever tried cleaning your shoes with wet paper towel? Or have you ever cleaned up spilled coffee with one sheet of tissue paper? Or maybe cleaned dirty paw marks off your rug with a wet cloth? Well, then you must know the frustration. Wasted time, wasted water, and wasted paper. Waste no more. Meet UniWipe, the mother of all wipes. It's bigger, it's wetter, it's stronger. Call our WhatsApp 246-417-0477 or email us at info@agilityexports.com to find out more.
With Prime bundles from Digicel, you get more than just data. You level up to a whole new digital life. Level up with D-Music and groove along with all your favorite music tracks. Level up with Sportsmax and catch all the adrenaline-packed live sports action. Level up with Go Loud and tune in to local radio stations and most happening podcasts from all around the world. And level up with Play Go and get a front row seat to watch the latest movies and TV series. Enjoy a 14-day bundle starting only at $50 with 98 gigabytes of dedicated data for premium access to your favorite apps without touching your any-use data. Experience the next level of digital. Get a 14-day Prime bundle for $50 in the My Digital app today.
At The Cable, we know being local means supporting our own, and our customers deserve the best. Our customers deserve platinum. So now, all customers of The Cable qualify for our new Platinum Loyalty Card. An elite MasterCard experience that lets you support your own like never before. Instantly send money to any Platinum Loyalty member at home or around the world. Shop online or in person anywhere MasterCard is accepted. Save with no interest and zero annual fees. And the best part? If you're a Cable customer, you are already pre-approved. Just visit the Cable building in Bastere or sign up online at www.thecable.net. Get your Platinum Loyalty Card today because you deserve platinum. Terms and conditions apply.
This message brought to you by ZIZ and the Fire Department of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I am Woman Fire Officer Mavis White Archibald with your safety tip for today. Install smoke alarms on every level of your home, inside bedrooms and outside sleeping areas. Test smoke alarms every month. If they are not working, change the batteries.
This message was brought to you by ZIZ and the St. Kitts Nevis Fire Department.
Good morning and welcome back to the morning show. It's now time for our conversation with the Fire and Rescue, with members of the Fire and Rescue Department here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I have Mr. Williams and Mr. Martin in the studio with me. Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all doing today?
Good morning, GQ. We're good.
Good morning to you also, GQ.
Nice.
Good morning, listening public.
All right, now for the past 2 weeks, we have been looking at establishing roles and responsibilities and guidelines, so to speak, as it relates to for a fire plan. You know, whether it's business or your personal home.
Indeed.
You should have a fire plan.
Yes, you should.
And if you don't think about it, maybe you should start considering it. And I know it's not something for anyone to just get up and just say, hey, because this thing must do it, just snap your finger and do it.
You have to put some thought into it.
And, you know, and go yourself into that mindset as well. From last week, our conversation sparked another conversation off air where people, you know, were concerned about their homes, burglar bars, but a lot of them weren't looking at, hey, if we have a fire, where will we go?
Yeah.
You're basically trapped in your home.
Yes.
You know, so you prevent one aspect of your concern in terms of
Having
robberies and
intruders,
break-ins,
right.
but then there's another aspect of it. And that's just one aspect, and I'm sure there are many others. So we're going to continue our conversation this morning, and I think we did not complete
the roles and
responsibilities.
No, we did not.
Yeah, so over to you.
All right, so just a brief recap as to what we would have gone through the past weeks. We went through looking at various scenarios that that could affect you, maybe your business or your home, in terms of any fire-related incidents. Then we spoke about roles and responsibilities. One was the chief fire warden, someone who is in charge of the emergency. That needs to be established. We can't have everyone, you know, going around back in order, so to speak. You know, it will be chaos. So there should be a chain of command being established. Then we looked at the assistant fire warden. This is someone who is responsible for alerting the employees, calling the fire department, etc. Then we have the route guides, persons who would make sure that the exit routes are clear at all times. So if let's say your company brought in a large shipment and it's a lot of boxes, then someone should be there to remember, hey, we cannot put these in the aisle, in the hallway, because, you know, it will hinder evacuation procedures and things like that. So we want to touch on this morning now fire extinguishers. When we say fire extinguishers, we're not talking about the literal canisters that you would have in your office, in your home. We are talking about persons who would actually be looked at to assist in extinguishing a fire. Now, we want to remind the general public that we don't advocate persons being firefighters. We consider everyone's safety. Bear in mind that a member of the public attacking a fire, it should not be any escalated fire. It should be a fire that is small and simple, something that you can handle in a safe and effective manner. So that's what we're looking at today. Fire extinguishers, the persons who would actually go out and do the extinguishment.
But before you continue, from being here on the program with you, even though a fire might be small, we also have to take into consideration the type of fire.
Indeed.
Because you might think, oh, it's a fire, it's a small fire, and throw water on it and cause more problems.
Right.
You know, so even though it might be a small fire, still approach with caution.
Of course. And I think that's a topic we would want to look at by itself in terms of throwing water on, let's say, a grease fire, for example. We would create some imagery so that persons who are looking at the show, they could actually see the effects of what happens when you throw water on a grease fire, an oil fire, something like that.
Now, as it relates to the extinguisher, the person who's allocated for that role, that person with that responsibility, would you now give them that same discussion that we just had?
Of course. We conduct the fire prevention side of the fire services. We do training with persons, educating them on the different classes of fire and things like that. So they should have, at the end of the lesson, they should have a pretty good knowledge as to some of the do's and don'ts. And they could it's an interactive session where persons, they're free to ask questions. And some of these sessions, they tend to go off in different directions because everybody have different questions and ideas and thoughts. We also encourage persons to share their experience as well, because their experience can help someone else who is in the audience at the time.
Okay. So we have covered routes and guides, the assistant fire warden, the chief fire warden. What's the next one on your list as it relates to responsibilities?
I don't know if Mr. Williams might want to touch anything else before we move on.
Sure.
Well, not too much more. As mentioned, the fire extinguishers, those are the persons who are responsible for the actual extinguishment of the fire. However, as mentioned, there are certain factors would have to be taken into consideration, like fire size, fire type, and that kind of stuff, which means then that they would have to have prior knowledge of fire types and what type of extinguisher should be used and what type of fire. So they would have that knowledge, and that is where fire department, we like to play an active part of your plan development, because we would need to incorporate that training so that when you actually put your plan in place, you already know the different fire types, what extinguisher would be more effective and what type of fire and the type of stuff. And you would need to know things like fire spread. You should not attempt to extinguish a fire using a fire extinguisher. Depending on how far it has spread, it would have left the source of origin. What we teach is that the fire extinguisher is used to extinguish a fire. The literal canister is used to extinguish a fire in its incipient stage. That's when the fire just starts, when you just catch it, before it has fully grown, before it has spread, and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But once the fire would have grown and spread, left the source of origin, you should call the fire department, because there's a high chance that the capacity of the extinguisher that you might have might not be enough to fully extinguish the fire. Therefore, you're wasting time and wasting resources.
Right.
So with those factors in play, then you need to make a decision whether or not I attack or should I call fire department, and I just focus on evacuation. Okay? So
I see. So instead of trying to out the fire, you change your game plan. Say, look, let's save lives if we can, and in the meantime, let's alert the fire department to get here.
Right. Well, that is once those factors are present. Left origin has spread, has gone, then you change your plan, as you mentioned. And with that said, the other role now with the flow monitors. These are the persons who normally leave the building last, because they check the floors and depend on the amount of story the building have. You would want to have a floor monitor for each floor. So that person is responsible for monitoring that floor, making sure that everybody is off from that floor. And once that is done, they leave that floor. They don't go up to third floor to check third floor. Third floor has its own monitor. So once they check their floor, they evacuate and come out and report to the fire chief or the assistant, not fire chief, the fire warden, and the assistant fire warden as to the status of their particular floor. And what should happen as well is that when people come to work, and I know right now it sounds like we're focusing on work, but the same thing could be applied at home, but you would have more persons at the workplace than you have at home.
Depends on the size of the family.
In most cases. Yeah. And so you would need to have a head count on each floor. So you have an accurate number of persons on each floor, and you have an accurate number of persons who actually showed up for work today. So in the event of evacuation, I know I had 10 persons on my floor.
Right.
I evacuated 9 persons. It means that somebody is missing. Right?
Did that person come to work today?
Exactly. But if you don't have that data, then you're not sure, because you don't know how many persons came to work. You don't know how many persons on the floor. So now the fire department shows up. We now don't have any information to act on, so we still have to go and do another search. That is a risk, and it may be waste of time and resources, because then there might not be anybody on the floor. But because you don't know how many persons on the floor, we still have to go in.
Right, because you can't take that chance. Because
you can't take that chance.
If you do take that chance, that's a person's life that you're now responsible for.
Exactly.
Right.
So we still have to go. But if you have that information beforehand, that you could give us, 30 persons came to work, 30 persons accounted for.
Right.
Okay.
Then you go plan your action.
Then we plan according from the information that was received.
Right.
Yes, so the floor monitor is responsible for monitoring the floors, make sure everybody is evacuated on a specific floor, and then they are normally the last persons to evacuate the building.
Now, go ahead, sorry.
If I could add to what Mr. Williams is saying. Now, equally important, the fire department, we like to encourage persons as well, not because you came to work. We have businesses to do in town. It is important to let someone know, hey, I'm going whether to the bank, I'm going by the post office. Let them know that you left the office, and equally important, let them know when you return, because I come to work today, I have something to do in town. I said, let me just take a quick run in town. I haven't informed anyone. Something happens at the department, nobody knows that I have left the department. And when they start to do their head count, they realize, hey, Martin is missing. Then the obvious, the next thing to think of, hey, Martin is inside of the building, not knowing that I slipped out and gone to town. Even now, with all of that said, you let somebody know, I let somebody know that I gone into town. When I come back now, I should let that person know that I have returned, because I came back, I did not say anything, an incident break out. They figure that I am still in town, not realizing that I am trapped inside of the building. Then when the fire department come now, they will say, okay, we had 30 persons, one went into town, not realizing that I was back on compound already. But I got caught up in whatever was transpiring.
Yes, I understand.
And even something more at home, even if you go to the bathroom, you let somebody know that you're going to the bathroom. Accountability. So at least somebody could say, hey, Susan went to the bathroom, check the bathroom.
You know, these are practices that are not so
common.
Yeah, or adhered to, you know. We more look at it, that's my personal business. TMI. and see that we're talking about communication. the next plan of action is that. But before we do so, and we're almost out of time to wrap up our program, I would like to stop there for now, gentlemen.
For sure, no problem.
And if anyone listening have a question to ask, they can do so. 465-2555, that's 2555. And for those of you viewing the program and you're on YouTube, you can also send your question there as well. So, the plan of action, responsibilities, whether you're at home or whether you're at work, these are the things you should take into consideration. We keep talking about having a conversation with these individuals, but before we get to that point, put on your headphones, gentlemen, let's take this call. Good morning, you're live.
Mr. Martin, how do we get people like, okay, there's a fire, right? And you know, you got something say 100 feet back from everybody who like viewing us. So you know, got people wanna come close with the camera, take picture, take video, and a bunch of people. So when you guys come, you have to say, excuse me, we need to get through, and all of that. How do we get people to stop that kind of ignorance and nonsense?
You heard the question? I know Mr. Martin was busy. Thanks for your call.
Yes, I would have heard the question. That is a challenge that we face in some instances where you have a crowd, and I don't know how to put this, but persons just like, here's a fire, everybody crowd up, and there, in fires there's a possibility of explosions and toxic gases being given off and that type of stuff, but I don't want a person just seem not to care about that. But as it relates to the crowd, this is where the assistance from the police comes in handy, where the police officer now would focus on crowd control, have them step back behind the caution tape. Because there are times, even though we put up a caution tape, person still lift the tape and pass under the tape. And because persons are fully aware of, how far a fire officer could go as it relates to, and we do have the powers of arrest once a person hinders us from performing our duties. Our act give us the power to arrest that person. However, even before that come into play, once we have the assistance from the police, which we have had in a few cases or most cases, when there is huge fires, police do show up. And the police will now focus on crowd control while we focus on rescue and extinguishment. And so once we have that support from the police, we really wouldn't have a problem with crowd control. But once the police is not there, we now have to focus on crowd control. And it's a tough job because the person is like, they don't want to adhere.
Yeah. Let's do this next call. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, GQ.
Hey, yes, my brother.
And good morning to the good fire chiefs and the family fire service.
Yes.
Greetings, boss. Greetings.
Good morning.
No, good morning, brother.
Good morning, morning.
Something, right? I hear something just now there, and you're so right. I remember a time, a good friend of mine, when she off island, she don't want nobody to know. You understand? And then she want to experience it with. And what happened? She ain't tell she never them nothing, she got in off island. And she never them see people are moving and take out things, think that she live still. You understand? And people end up living in a people home that kind of way, People end up occupying your home and them things too.
Yes.
So it's good to tell people, whether you're going town or you're going to make a message somewhere. Up to the other day, I left on a pot with some hot water. And I got a call, I went to take my second shot of vaccine, still forget, down the health center. And I got to call me, I'm not going to never lock the door. I got to call my sister, tell her, send she grandson out there, well, lock off his door for me. You understand? But these are things that we each and everyone got to look out for one another, especially in this kind of time, because we don't know what will happen.
Indeed.
All right, then, good program.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
indeed.
Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.
Just about 5 minutes left before we wrap it up. 465-2555. If you have a question or a concern you'd like to raise with Mr. Martin or Mr. Williams, the Fire and Rescue Department here in St. Kitts and Nevis, you can do so. I was going to touch base on the whole aspect of, how can I put it, communication. Right, you were talking about, which the last caller just ended on, in terms of, why you should do these things, opposed to, hey, it's my business. The communication plan, even though that's a part of communication, it's still different from that communication plan.
This particular communication plan is a part of the evacuation plan. Is more to the particular business and the communication within the business that would affect either negatively or positively the plan itself. Okay, so this is not exactly the same like what the last caller
okay, just need to clear that up.
But that caller would have made an extremely valid point, extremely valid. And it brings me back to, living good with people and we are neighbors.
Yes.
I mean, I would like to see us reach back to a point where I am my neighbor's keeper. And when I go to New York, I tell my neighbor I go to New York. Look after my place for me. I say, yeah, man, no problem, I got you. So that we don't have people moving in, taking out stuff. And I thinking that, hey, you authorize that. So, but all the while I seen it happen until you empty out your place and you come back from New York and you fussing and saying, but I didn't know you're going to New York. And let me bring it home to fire now. Fire. You lock up the place and you're gone overseas and your house on fire. I don't know where you are. I trying to call you, but I don't know you left island. So your place burned down, you came back home to a burned down house. Simply because there is no communication. And persons know, they would say, well, that's my business. Okay, so I don't need to tell you anything. But I don't know how healthy that would be in the long run.
Indeed, right? Indeed. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time as usual, for being here. And next week we'll continue our conversation and I'll be looking at the communication aspect of it.
Yep, indeed.
To all of our viewers and to all of our listeners, thank you for being a part of our programming. Stay tuned. Up next we have Battle of the Bands. Gentlemen, have a great day.
You likewise, JQ.
Thank you very much, sir.
In case you don't know us, you're just twisting that dial away and managed to bump into us. This is ZIZ Radio from out of St. Kitts.
Looking for the best price on your third-party insurance? Well, look no more. The insurance company of the West Indies, ICWI, has the best protection at the best price with no deductible. What are you waiting for? Click, call 465-8753 or visit us at 1C Bird Rock Road or in Nevis number 22 Solomon Arcade